What's going on, y'all? I've got some really cool buffs and changes for Lilligant that I would love to get into, but before I can explain the type change, the stat tweaks, the move changes, and all the move synergies, I want to have a quick disclaimer. But before I get into that, I also want to quickly flash Hisui and Lilligant on screen. Hisui and Lilligant's gonna have its own video, so I'm gonna explain more about them in that separate video, so check that out after this one. But yeah, with all that, well, I didn't say anything yet, but for disclaimer stuff, I recommend if you're new here, first of all, shout out to you. Appreciate you clicking on the video, it really means a lot. Make sure, drop a like, leave a sub, all that good stuff. It helps a lot with the algorithm and whatnot, but most importantly, well, there's two things that you need to do if you're new here. Number one, pause the video, read the description. I've got a bullet point list explaining the basics of the ROM hack because I don't have time to explain all the basics in every single change video. And then number two, check out the move guide. As you can see on screen, it's very detailed. It's linked down below. It's on the Google Sheets, second tab. You can also just click everything from here. It takes you there. And yeah, it's got all of the move archetypes in the game organized and categorized in great detail. So make sure you do that. But yeah, Lilligant and Petlil. So these guys are Grass Fairy now. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you go to the Pokedex and stuff, like they're all about like calming, soothing, beautiful. A lot of fairy types are like beautiful, elegant, relaxing, calming effects, stuff like that. Obviously, grass has that vibe as well. But yeah, so if you read the Pokedex, it talks about all that stuff, relaxing effect, beautiful flowers. So I think fairy makes a lot of sense for Lilligant, and they've got the whole like princess, almost like royalty type vibe going on there too. And both Lilligant and Hisui and Lilligant share the ability Solar Rush. That's obviously, it's just chlorophylled. It's just a very good ability. You got your growth, you got your solar beam. It just gives you double speed in general, which is nice because 90 base speed with Choice Scarf. I mean, to be honest, 90 base speed with Choice Scarf outspeeds pretty much the entire game in a ROM hack context anyway. But some fights you might want extra speed or to be able to switch your moves around, and that's what Solar Rush lets you do. And it's pretty easy to either do manual Sunny Day or set up Sunny Day with somebody else. You can do like Sunny Day into a Eject button into your Lilligant, so that's good. But the main things here that are unique to Lilligant as opposed to Hisui and Lilligant are Serene Grace and Elegance. So Serene Grace is mostly only good for Revelation Dance. Technically, it's also good for Seed Flare and Eternal Beam, which both give a guaranteed SpDef drop. Seed Flare specifically is a -2 SpDef drop guaranteed, which is great on paper. Like in a competitive setting, that's crazy, right? Because the 120 power move, you switch in your -2 SpDef, you're fucked, right? Even resists will be fucked over. But in an in-game context, the AI is not switching around, so that -2 SpDef is a much, even the -1 SpDef from Eternal Beam, both of which are recoil moves, by the way. Eternal Beam and Seed Flare, they're recoil moves now. It's just like whatever, like it's not really that good. It's cool and it's nice for like really tanky mons if you need to like 2 KO them with a Seed Flare or Eternal Beam, but odds are it's not going to come into play too much for the player. Seed Flare I think could be kind of neat, like on like a really bulky mon, you can like 2 KO them with a Seed Flare maybe or something cool, but yeah, mostly it's just for that Revelation Dance. That's the only consistent effect. Also, Play Rough technically has a guaranteed special attack drop chance with Serene Grace, but again, not a huge factor for the player, especially because you already have Petal Blizzard, which is guaranteed drop anyway, as well as Disarming Voice, which does the same thing. So yeah, not super unique. But yeah, Revelation Dance, Lilligant's kind of one of their main things is like dancing, Petal Dance and Quiver Dance and Teeter Dance and all this other dancing moves. So Serene Grace fits them very well in that regard, and also just in the regard of yeah. Oh, I forgot to make their primary typing fairy in the game files. That way they get the stab Revelation Dance, the fairy type Revelation Dance instead of grass. 2 seconds, just got to do that now so I don't forget. Okay, we're done. So yeah, that's good. Revelation Dance, it used to be a signature move, obviously, but pretty much every Serene Grace Pokemon and a couple other like dancing type Pokemon get access to that now. But it's only really, the special attack boost chance is only relevant for a Serene Grace. Otherwise, the player isn't really intended to be abusing that at all. It's not consistent, right? It's not a safe, reliable strategy, which in this sort of like ROM hack, I've balanced the game around playing safely and, more responsibly, I guess, with your Pokemon in a Teamlocked, nuzlockes, because you're supposed to bond with them more and try to keep them alive more. So that's good. And then Elegance is just a really solid ability to switch to because there are a lot of new priority moves in this game. For example, Lilligant has Pixie Dust and Leaf Flurry, and even stuff like Befuddle and Seed Shot, but that's more for Hisui and Lilligant, the physical ones. But yeah, It's just nice to be immune to, priority moves once in a while on the AI, because the AI might have some like cheesy priority, once in a while they'll be like a Gale Wings or like a Rapid Fire. So being able to completely stonewall like a Rapid Fire or Gale Wings move is really, really good, because those are really scary offensive abilities that the AI can abuse. Mostly Rapid Fire, like, a good amount of boss fights might have a couple of those. I mean, there's not that many Rapid Fire Pokemon, but all of them will hopefully show up on a boss at some point because of how strong it is as an ability. So yeah, Elegance is just good. It's just good to switch to. You've also got really good utility and solid bulk overall. So Hisuian Lilligant has 90 speed F, 110 speed, while this is 90 speed, 110 speed F, and then their attack and special attack swaps, and that's the only stat difference between them. Their HP and defense is the same. 70-75 seems middling on paper, but with it max HP defense investment and moves like Strength Sap at level 32, which is really early, this thing is very tanky physically with that Strength Sap, with the other debuffing moves. You've got like Wish, Synthesis, Floral Healing. Floral Healing is cool because it heals you by 2/3 HP in grassy terrain. So you have Synthesis for Sun and Solar Rush, and then you have Floral Healing for grassy terrain with Grassy Guard, which Petalil has. Obviously, it loses it when it evolves, mainly because Serene Grace and Elegance. Well, Elegance is, number one, it doesn't really fit Petalil that well, and number two, I just didn't really want them to have like an OP cheesy Elegance for early game, because a lot of the AI will be using more priority early game because of the lower base power. But Grassy Guard is good, because Serene Grace is useless early game. It's not consistent at all for the player, right? There's no moves that really synergize with it yet until you get later in the game. Yeah, there's other small Serene Grace, like, yes, Grass Pledge has a 50% chance to boost special attack and all that crap, but with the Serene Grace, without it, it's a 25. But all these other moves that have, like, inconsistent chances to do things doesn't really matter. I will say Terra Blast, Weather Ball, and Terrain Pulse all have a 50-50 to drop special defense, and Terra Blast even is a 50-50 to drop defense and special defense. That's all mostly so the player... It's mostly to make the players scary, to make the AI scarier against you, like when they use Terra Blast and stuff, but it's cool for Serene Grace mons. A bulky Terra Lilligant can, like, Terra Blast into, 2 KO, something they wouldn't otherwise be able to maybe 2 KO. I don't know. Very niche overall, I would say, defense, special defense, dropping, stuff like that. Especially maybe for a special attacker, it could be good, because you've got good special defense, so you could run like an AV Serene Grace special defense drop set, something like that, with like heal moves like Mega Drain and Draining Kiss. Mega Drain is essentially 60 base power grass type Draining Kiss, so it heals you by a lot more than Giga Drain would, but it's weaker obviously. Encore is good utility. Sweet Scent, that's really good for early on. It's good in general, but especially early on, it drops special attack and special defense by -1. Grassy Terrain is just really good in general with Grassy Guard, because Petalil has really solid bulk overall, 45, 70, 85. You get the +1 from defense, and it becomes much, much tankier with that Grassy Guard. So that's good with Leech Seed and healing moves and stuff like that. You've also got a very early Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder is always guaranteed to last for 2 turns, and it won't miss with the new buffed Wide Lens. So slap on a Wide Lens and you get a consistent 2 turns of sleep, which you can use later on the game to set up. It has a couple of really good setup options. So in general, Serene Grace, Revelation Dance, Choice Scarf is kind of the most brainless, boring, but it's strong thing you can do, right? Because you're just kind of snowballing out of control, and you can just kind of go from there. Elegance is nice, again, to achieve certain priority, especially because the versus... It's a bit broken, right? Because Moverlander allows you to just teach setup whenever you want it. So Elegance lets you stonewall any mon that has priority, and typically when they have priority, all their moves are going to be priority because of the way that, like, the AI works. So you kind of just wall them on completely, and you could just set up on them for free, but I don't know, you can have some type of honor code where it's like, okay, if you don't want to play the game setting up, then you don't, Also, as for Hurricane, I should have mentioned that earlier. Hurricane seems like a weird coverage move. I chose to give them that because Hisuian Lilligant gets it, and I think it's because Hisuian Lilligant's supposed to, like, spin around and shit, make, like, wind. And I don't know, I guess I can see normal Lilligant doing that. I think it's fine. It's got, like, the whole Petal Blizzard thing going on. And then they've got Earth Power, and just really all they need, honestly, is just they got Weather Ball in the Sun, they've got Terrain Pulse, which they can use. They can use Weather Ball and Terrain Pulse for other coverage moves like Ice, Rock, etc. And then you've got your Terra Blast as well, which can be, any type depending what you get from RNG. So it's pretty straightforward, but that's Revelation Dance stuff with Scarf. Or later on in the game, you could do Quiver Dance / Teeter Dance Revelation Dance, and that can snowball really easily because you're just boosting your stats, right? So Teeter Dance is an Omni boost that also gives you +1 to all your stats. So it's an Omni boost that makes you confused. Sorry, I was trying to say that. So essentially, you can run Lumberry or Person Berry on your Lilligant, click Teeter Dance, and now you've got +1 defense, +1 speed, +1 special attack, whatever. Quiver Dance is obviously better in the sense that it doesn't require you to hold a item. which is why it's earlier. Which is why Quiver Dance is a later move. However, Quiver Dance doesn't give you a defense boost, so I guess if you wanted to try to do like a bulky Fizz Def set, you can't do that with Quiver Dance, but that's pretty niche. Most people are just gonna be, you know, using it for the speed and the special attack with Serene Grace, Revelation Dance, and just kind of snowball from there, right? Again, Petal Blizzard, great debuffing move as well. It's exclusive. It gives the opponent -1 offenses. Strength Sap's great. Ingrain is pretty unique, although they have no switch move, so I'm not even gonna bother talking about it because it's very, very unsafe to use because they don't have. I was actually considering giving them Baton Pass because it makes sense, but I really don't like them stat passing. I just don't like the idea of that at all, like Omniboost passing. So I don't know. I just opted not to give it to them, even though it is minus priority, so it would be probably fine balance-wise, but I'm just not a fan of it conceptually. So. I don't want to encourage that at all. Chloroblast in Sun is crazy. So Chloroblast in Solar Rush, right? Because basically, Chloroblast is now giving you a +1 special attack boost. No matter what. It takes half your health. It's a 135 power move overall, and it takes half your health. So what that means is, if you're running it in Sun and you're outspeeding everything, you can switch it in with the Sun up, click Chloroblast, blow something up, and now you're +2 speed from Solar Rush and +1 special attack from Chloroblast. So that's super, super strong. And then you could go with, you know, for all types of other moves like Solar Beam, Earth Power, Terra Blast, Eternal Beam, all these strong moves, Revelation Dance, whatever you want to do. Revelation Dance is also nice because it's stronger than Alluring Voice, which is your main Fairy Stab until you get the Eternal Beam TM at 6 badges. Eternal Beam being again, it's recoil, so it's 120 power. So you got those two as your main options until you get to level 50 for Revelation Dance. Eternal Beam is, I believe, in the mid 40s, TM wise, like level wise. I gotta double check, fact check myself, but I believe 6 badges, yeah, 41 to 47. So between that range is when you're gonna get access to Eternal Beam. So yeah, I mean, I opted not to give it like strong fairy moves, like, I don't know, Radiant Outburst and shit. I just don't really see that logically on it. I don't know. It's okay. Like, yeah, it's a plant. It can make light, I guess. But I don't know. It doesn't really have like the true fairy vibes, you know? It's more like the plant fairy type vibes. So that's why I chose what I did. But yeah, it's very tanky. Really cool utility moves, even stuff like Charm and Befriend, you know, that good old reliable debuffing options. Straightforward overall. So yeah, thanks for listening. Also, lastly, Flower Veil Petalil is just a nice little option once in a while if you're not running grassy terrain or sun, because it just basically means you can't be status to have your stats lowered, which is really good for early game because there's a lot of stat lowering moves running around. So being immune to stat drops is good, and then being immune to status is nice. You know, it's nothing too crazy or important. It's just nice to switch to if you have a free ability slot for that boss fight because your other two abilities rely on terrain or weather. And yeah, Lilligant, that offensive Serene Grace stuff, the Elegance and the Solar Rush, it's really solid. You know, it's got really nice fun moves to abuse. It's not like the widest move pool in the world because it is still like just a little fairy plant thing, but you know, it's got all that it needs. So yeah, thanks for listening. Let me know in the comments down below if you made it to the end. I really do appreciate it if you did. Make sure you drop a comment, helps with the algorithm, and I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace.